Hello, welcome to the anti-war channel. This is my alternative channel. I'm relaxing after work. Still have things to do later today, but it's warm. That's why I'm just wearing this undershirt. It's warm today. I knew once February got here, it was going to start warming up. We'll have cold snaps. They won't last much. Drinking out of a Singa beer glass. Coors, 5% alcohol. Certified kosher. Introduced in 1873, brewed in Golden, Colorado by Coors Brewing Company, part of Molson Coors. So they're saying on the website, the Clear Creek watershed was once home base for the scores of hopeful gold miners. It's been our home since Adolph Coors opened the brewery over 140 years ago. Provides the only water we'll ever use to brew. You know, Rocky Mountain water. Then there's the Moravian barley seeds that Adolph Coors received in 1936. To this day, all of the barley we use can be linked to that original variety, Moravian barley. Moravia is part of the Czech Republic. There's Bohemia at the northwest, and then the lower southeastern part of the country is Moravia. Located in the foothills of the Rockies, the high country resembles the Moravia region of the Czech Republic. The elevation is similar. The days are warm, the nights are cool. This results in the perfect place to grow our barley. I'm not trumpeting Coors. I'm just reading what they're saying on their website. We've been lucky to talk about the importance of family. We've been lucky enough to work with some of the finest families of barley growers for many generations. Coors is family owned. It's owned by the Coors family. And then the other side of the company, 50%, the Molson side is owned by the Molson family. So Molson Coors was not a buyout, one buying out the other. It was a merger, a joint merger, a 50-50 merger, okay? So you got the Coors and the Molson people running it. Patience and persistence go hand in hand. Our strain of yeast has been in use for decades and contains a unique personality that helps provide that fruity aroma Coors Banquet has come to be known for. And they're showing the brew kettles with the beer cooking in it. Looks nice. Yeah, fruity aroma. Some people say banana. You do pick that up a little bit. Striking a balance. Adolph Coors recipe called for a greater addition of aromatic hops to bittering hops. They're showing a guy with a bucket of hop pellets. Our subtle blend of Chinook, Harler, Hercules, and Taurus hops give Coors Banquet just the perfect hint of bitterness to offset the malty sweetness. So they use 4 hop varieties: Chinook, Harler, Hercules, and Taurus. Of course, they also use corn syrup. They're talking about taking brewery tours here. I can read the ingredients off the Miller Coors website because they give an ingredients list. Thanks for watching. Clean, refreshing. The body's kind of light. I guess it's medium. Tastes like, what do you say? It tastes like beer, right? Just regular old beer. Yeastiness, grain, cereal grain. Bitterness is not really there. It's all balanced. What they would call a round beer. Round meaning you can't really detect the various ingredients. Sort of like a Phil Spector production in music. It's just like a wall of sound where you can't pick out the individual instruments. It's just sort of like a solid noise. You know, understand? Coors Banquet. Here we go. Ingredients: water, barley malt, corn syrup, or dextrose, yeast, and hop extract. There you go. They're saying hop extract, but the photo is showing hop pellets. Whatever that is, you know, whatever they're using, it's still hops. The companies claim they use the pellets and the extract because it's more consistent than whole cone. Well, I don't know a lot about brewing. 147 calories. Awards. It won a silver medal 4 years ago at the Great American Beer Festival, a gold medal 5 years ago, a bronze medal 6 years ago, a gold medal 11 years ago, and a bronze medal 6 years ago at the World Beer Cup. So somebody likes it. Two bronze, a silver, and 2 gold medals. They didn't drink it and say, "Oh, it's terrible, let's give it a gold." Johnny Ringo, Rocky Mountain Water. I know what some people are going to say, well, it was in competition against other adjunct lagers. Well, naturally, they put styles of beer in competition with each other. It wasn't in competition with peanut butter stout, peanut butter milk stout. It didn't win best in show. It just won gold in that category. Now, you might say, I hate that category. That's fine. You have a right to hate it. You could just avoid drinking it. I don't see the issue, but some people had a big issue with our hang up on certain beers that are produced. I don't like those seltzer beers. They taste like water to me, but I'm not fixated on it. I don't go around worrying myself that people drink seltzer beers like Bud Light Seltzer, Natural Light Seltzer, and all those other ones. I mean, that doesn't make any difference to me. They're very popular. Bootleg 400 cases in Smoky and the Bandit. That tells you it's a great beer, right? 1977. Would you jump a Trans Am over a bridge for Coors Banquet? No, but I would go to Food for Less and buy a 6-pack of these pint cans for $4.53 plus tax. That's what it cost me over there, $4.53 plus tax, which to me is a great deal these days. Okay, I was checking the Syrian Civil War map, the live map. It's updated, but continuously updated, and it looks like the Syrian Arab Army, the government of Syria, Bashar al-Assad's troops, are really hammering the rebels, the Islamic terrorist rebels in the northwestern part of the country, with, of course, the Russian Federation's help. The Russian Federation is sending a lot of help, airstrikes, ground troops, whatever. And remember, Syria is where Russia has their only overseas naval base on the Mediterranean Sea there in Syria. So now Turkey has sent in troops to apparently help the rebels. I don't know why they would want to help Islamic radical rebels, but they're doing it. And they said they're linked to Al-Qaeda. That's what the AP News said, not some conspiracy theory website. That's a U.S. ally. Now imagine making an alliance with a country like that. I don't think Turkey wants to tangle with the Russian army and air force because that's a sure loss. But you see, Turkey might be thinking, well, if those Russians attack our planes and troops, America's going to back us up. And that's where Trump needs to tell the Turkish president, look, NATO is if you get attacked, we'll defend you, which is a bad idea to start with. Secondly, though, you're not being attacked. You're out in another country. You've invaded another country. You invaded Syria with your own army. And if you get hit, don't come crying to us. No one told you to go there. You say, well, Russia invaded Syria. No, Russia didn't invade Syria. They were invited in. They were guests of the Syrian government. They're allies with Syria. The United States invaded Syria because we have troops there uninvited. So when you send troops into a country, a foreign country, against the will of the country, that's an invasion. That's an act of war. And we know that President Barack Hussein Obama did that. But for some reason, the anti-war people, the so-called anti-war people, had no trouble with that. Didn't even know about it, apparently. Now, Trump said he's going to get the troops out, but then they're still there, U.S. troops, so that makes you wonder. Apparently, there's been some Israeli airstrikes on Syria. It seems that Israel is helping the Islamic rebels, because you haven't seen any Islamic attacks on Israel, curiously, in the last 6 years, really. And so you say, no, there's been Palestinian attacks. Those are not Islamic attacks. Those are done, that's a real estate issue. They're not attacking them for religious reasons, okay? That's a land dispute over Palestine. But these Islamic rebels claim all these religious reasons, you see, the great Zionist enemy they claim and all of that, but then yet they never attack them. And Israel is over there coming to their aid, which is making you think, what? Common sense, that they may have been supporting them all along. You have to use some kind of intelligence when you look at these situations. The Russian, I think it might have been foreign minister, or maybe the Russian representative in Syria, ambassador in Syria, or military attaché, I can't remember who it was. He said this was very dangerous for the Israelis to be flying around in airspace where the Russian Air Force is operating. I think they've given them some implied advice that it might not be to their advantage to keep zooming their jet fighter and fighter bombers in Russian areas. But Israel can be very cavalier also because why? They figure in what? Uncle Sugar is going to help them if they get into a nasty situation with Russia. Once again, Trump needs to tell them, look, you can do what you want in Syria and be all reckless and everything, but don't come crying to us when you get clipped, because you're not going to be able to compete with the Russian Air Force, and you know that. They will smash you, but then you're going to come and say, well, we got the backup from the big guys. So really, Trump, if he's the outsider he claims to be, which I have serious doubts about that, but if he claims to be if he's the outsider he claims to be, he needs to give him a very firm message. You're on your own. And they wouldn't be so cavalier if they were on their own. You understand that? If they hadn't had the USA backing them up for the last 72 years, it'd be a lot less bold and aggressive, because they figure they can do what they want and we're going to bail them out. If they didn't have that to rely on, they'd have to negotiate and make a fair settlement or whatever. They're not going to get any help from England or France. Not really. They're not going to go to bat for them. They know that. In fact, the British and the French kind of don't even really like them because they consider them sort of like troublemakers. The United States backs them up. That's the key. President Bernard Hussein Sanders will pull us out of there. Yeah. If you believe that, if you think, I know you're being sarcastic, if you think Bernie Sanders is going to not back up Israel, you're entertaining incredible flights of fancy. I think any thinking person would realize that would never happen. He's obviously going to back up Israel. I mean, there's not even any point talking about that. That's a guarantee. That's Trump is talking about changing the game plan, but I haven't seen much change yet. All right. I'm not like a lot of y'all conservatives that's just slavishly devoted to him. I like some of the things he's done, and I don't like other things. So you talk a good show, now let's back it up. You might say, oh, I bet you supported Obama. Yeah, right. You'd lose that bet. So it remains to be seen. But what we're looking at right now looks very positive. We hate to see the war going on in Syria. We hate to see war. This is an anti-war channel, common sense, right? But we do like the progress they're making against these treacherous rebels. It's a war of defense. It's self-defense. They have a right to defend themselves. Anti-war doesn't mean you can't defend yourself, all right? It means you don't seek out conflict and have a policy of war to gain your policy goals, you know, to achieve your policy goals. All right, if you're invaded, then you have a right to defend yourself. Syria, facing all these terrible things since 2011, they have a right to fight back. All right, it's common sense. If you're walking down the street and somebody attacks you, you have a right to fight back. If you kill them, well, that's on them. They asked for it. They attacked you. I remember in Missouri years ago, about 6 years ago, some guy had robbed a store, and then he attacked a policeman, and he got shot. And then all these liberal people were saying, "Oh, he's a gentle giant, the poor guy. He put his hands up and said, 'Don't shoot.'" Which was all lies. It was all lies. Okay, and they wanted to have riots in his honor. You know, I'm going to break into the liquor store and steal gin and rum and brandy because I'm so angry about him being shot. No, you just want to steal liquor and brandy and rum because you are a criminal. So when a gentle giant attacked the policeman and he was killed, I said, well, he had it coming. You know, he got what was coming to him. You hate to see somebody get shot. But then on the other hand, the policemen shouldn't be attacked. And then you hear an ignorant statement. You know, these kind of people, these are people that they're going to talk to you about warfare, you know, just war and all this. They can't. You have to have some cognitive ability. They'll say, I listened to all this 6 years ago. Oh, the policeman could have just fought with him hand to hand. Think about the mentality of a person like that. The policeman does not have to fight with you hand to hand and risk his life because you want to attack him. All right? No. Only a fool. You would have to be a fool to believe that. Either you're a liar and you know what you're saying, or you're a fool. You have no brains. You have no sense to believe such a foolish thing. If you're in Missouri and you attack a policeman and he shoots you, that's fair. All right. If I'm walking down the street and you attack me and I come out blasting and you get killed, that's too bad for you. You shouldn't attack me. I don't have to fight you hand by hand, hand to hand. I'm not an expert. I'm not even trained like a policeman, but even the policeman doesn't have to fight you. But these are stupid. These are people that have no kind of intelligence. Okay. Syria doesn't have to lay down and let their country be taken over. They have a right to fight back. And then you hear all this propaganda on TV. Oh, they set off a chemical bomb, a chemical warfare attack, which is almost certainly not true, because who would gain from that? The rebels, right? They get the U.S. involved. Oh, look, they made a chemical attack. And Syria said, we didn't do that. I mean, why would we do that? We're winning. We've got it. We're winning. We've got most of the country taken back. We're gonna use chemical weapons so that the United States can attack us. Even Trump, I don't think really believed that. Remember, he launched that missile strike, but I think he let the Russians and the Syrians know ahead of time. Look, we're going to strike. I got these neocons on my back. You know, I'm going to launch this strike just for show, and you can get ready for it. And it's kind of like a play act. And Putin and Russia, President Putin of Russia and the Syrians say, okay, you know, we understand because you got a lot of those people on your back. Kind of like a show. Might have been the same thing with Iran. Remember, they assassinated the Iranian general. Was that early this year or late last year? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. You can look it up. We don't worry about reference material. You can look things up. You don't have to memorize everything. The Iraqi prime minister said the man was on a peace mission to try to negotiate peace between Iran and Saudi Arabia. And then he was killed at the airport or close to the airport by the U.S. airstrike, drone strike. Now, Trump and them said, oh, he was a terrorist. Okay. But my thinking was probably, or possibly, not probably, possibly. Here's what I started thinking about. It could have been an inside job, meaning that the Iranians didn't like the guy either. They didn't trust him. They felt threatened by him. All right. That maybe he was what they used to call in the Middle Ages an overmighty subject, like a prince that was getting a little too powerful and might just try to overthrow the king, sort of thing. So the Iranian leadership might have felt that this guy's got too much popularity. He was like a folk hero in Iran, and he might be plotting to take over, kind of like Lin Piao in China in 1971. You know, Lin Piao was Mao Zedong's #2 guy. Mao said, when I'm dead, you could be the new dictator of China. And Lin Piao had a big following. But then all of a sudden one day they said he tried to escape the country and his plane crashed. Okay. In 1971, his plane crashed. No, what probably really happened was he was trying to overthrow the government and he realized he got caught and Mao was about to knock him out, you know, whack him out. And he has tried to escape and he was shot down in Mongolia by the Chinese. Now, this guy, the Iranian general, it could have been a coordinated thing with the Iranians and the Americans say, look, you take him out, then we're going to get all angry and put on a show like, oh, how dare you? You killed our great general. Oh, how dare you? You are the great Satan. Oh, how dare you? You killed the general. And all of these protests and everything. But then the Iranian leadership might have been thinking, ha, 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 good. And then we're going to launch a missile strike on the American Naval Air Force, or whatever base it is, American base in Iraq. But we'll let you know ahead of time it's coming in and nothing's really going to happen. It's like a show, a showcase. Because remember they had the Iranian strike and then nothing really happened. They had some people got injured with concussion because of explosions, they said. So that made me think it could have been set up. Because now Trump's talking about, we're going to make a deal with Iran. We're going to make a deal with Iran. We'll make a deal with Iran. They've probably been making deals the whole time. Behind Israel's back, perhaps, which would be a good thing. But I don't support assassination. I don't care if you're making a deal with him and they don't trust him or whatever. You don't assassinate people because you can have tit for tat, right? You know, you say, well, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. Right. That's not good. That's not good. That's a bad policy because look back in American history, you had a president back in the 1860s authorizing attacks on civilians, say rob people's stuff out of their house, burn their crops, mistreat, show disrespect, or even rape the women, do all these terrible things inside the states in Georgia and South Carolina. Okay. But then see, some people don't forget that. And then they say, well, you want to play rough? We'll play rough. And then the man goes to the theater to watch the play. And then there you go. So you don't want to do these kind of things because it could come back to haunt you, you see. And it came back to haunt that president in the mid 1860s. Trying to play rough with people, you see. Now, I don't support that kind of thing, but some people are kind of more crazy. You know, they say, oh, okay, we got you, but we'll take care of it. Now, anyway, we hope the Syrians can have their independence and fight off these terrible invaders. And we in the anti-war world, I'm talking about the anti-war world, we appreciate the Russians coming in to help. You said, I never would have imagined the Russians would be like on the good guy side, right? Yeah, it's funny how things change, right? So anyway, the Coors beer is good. It's not spectacular. Never was created to be spectacular, all right? Read through their history. Look at all their ads. Never does it say it's spectacular or world class. It just says it's good to have at a banquet. Like you could drink it, you know, enjoy it. You're not going to sit there and reflect upon it and think about all the intricate qualities of it. It's not that kind of beer, okay? You know that. I know that. Coors knows that. Anybody should know that, all right? The Syrian thing looked like it's going along very well. Of course, we pray for peace. We don't want people getting killed. The civilians suffer the most with these kind of adventures. We denounce Obama's insane, and Clinton too, you know, Hillary Clinton, their insane adventurism, attacking Libya, attacking Syria, and doing all these nefarious things. But God help them, because they're going to have to face the judgment one day. It's like in that 1970 song, there's a song from 1970 called War Pigs. And that song War Pigs is about that. Like these people are bad. These politicians don't go out to fight, but they're going to face judgment one day. They're going to pay for their crimes. Maybe not in this life, but certainly in the next. And they had better repent. Okay, anyway, thanks for watching this video production, and it's on with whatever is coming next.